Let's explore the second part of insane history facts about past world leaders. Julius Caesar was born into a patrician family in Rome in 100 BCE. He rose to prominence as a military leader and politician during the late Roman Republic. Caesar formed the first triumvirate with Pompey and Crassus, which allowed him to consolidate power and influence in Rome. He was appointed dictator for life in 44 BCE, effectively ending the Roman Republic and initiating the transition to the Roman Empire. Caesar's military campaigns in Gaul, modern-day France, and Britain expanded the borders of the Roman Republic and brought significant wealth and resources to Rome. He famously crossed the Rubicon River with his army in 49 BCE, sparking a civil war against his political rival, Pompey. Caesar was assassinated on the Ides of March 15, 44 BCE, by a group of senators led by Brutus and Cassius. His assassination led to a power struggle in Rome and ultimately paved the way for the rise of his adopted heir, Octavian, later known as Augustus, as the first emperor of Rome. Caesar's assassination was a turning point in Roman history and has been immortalized in literature, drama, and art for centuries. He is remembered as one of the most influential figures in ancient history, known for his military conquests, political reforms, and lasting impact on Roman civilization. Caesar's legacy includes the Julian calendar, which he introduced to reform the Roman calendar and establish a standardized system of timekeeping. He was deified by the Roman Senate after his death, with temples and cults dedicated to his worship across the Roman Empire. Caesar's life and career have been the subject of countless biographies, historical studies, and works of fiction, cementing his status as a legendary figure in Western civilization. His assassination marked the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire, setting the stage for centuries of imperial rule in the Mediterranean world. Caesar's military campaigns and conquests laid the foundation for the territorial expansion and geopolitical dominance of the Roman Empire. Catherine the Great. She was born in Stettin, Prussia, now Szczecin, Poland, in 1729, and married the future Emperor Peter III of Russia in 1745. She became Empress of Russia in 1762 after orchestrating a coup d'etat against her husband, who was unpopular among the Russian nobility. Make sure to subscribe for more amazing content. Catherine's reign was marked by significant cultural and political reforms, including the establishment of a legislative assembly known as the Legislative Commission. She was a patron of the arts and sciences, promoting education, literature, and the fine arts throughout her reign. Catherine presided over the expansion of the Russian Empire, including the annexation of Crimea and the partition of Poland. She corresponded with Enlightenment philosophers such as Voltaire and Diderot, and sought to modernize Russia along Western European lines. Catherine was known for her lavish court and extravagant lifestyle, which included palaces, theaters, and gardens designed to rival those of other European monarchs. She established the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, which became one of the largest and most prestigious art museums in the world. Catherine's reign saw the consolidation of autocratic rule in Russia and the suppression of internal dissent and rebellion. She was a proponent of enlightened despotism, believing in the power of the state to promote the welfare and happiness of its citizens. Catherine's reign was not without controversy, as she faced criticism for her expansionist policies, her treatment of political opponents, and her relationships with various lovers and favorites. She was the longest reigning female ruler in Russian history, ruling for over 34 years until her death in 1796. Catherine's legacy as a powerful and influential leader is still debated by historians, with some praising her achievements and others condemning her authoritarianism and excesses. Her reign is often referred to as the Golden Age of the Russian Empire, a period of cultural, political, and territorial expansion that laid the groundwork for Russia's emergence as a European power. Catherine's reforms and policies left a lasting impact on Russia, shaping its development and trajectory for centuries to come. George Washington. He was born in Westmoreland County, Virginia in 1732 and became a prominent landowner and military officer in colonial America. He served as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War, leading the colonies to victory against the British Empire. Washington presided over the Constitutional Convention in 1787 and was unanimously elected as the first President of the United States in 1789. He served 2 terms as president from 1789 to 1797, establishing many of the precedents and institutions of the new American government. Washington's leadership during the early years of the United States was marked by his commitment to Republican principles, national unity, and civic virtue. He is often referred to as the father of his country for his instrumental role in the founding of the United States. Washington's farewell address, delivered upon leaving office in 1797, warned against the dangers of political factionalism, sectionalism, and foreign entanglements. He's depicted on the $1 bill and the quarter, and the capital city of the United States, Washington, D.C., is named in his honor. Washington's leadership style was characterized by his integrity, humility, and commitment to public service. He was known for his stoic demeanor, calm under pressure, and ability to inspire loyalty and confidence in his subordinates. Washington owned enslaved people throughout his life, and his legacy is complicated by his participation in the institution of slavery. He was a proponent of agrarianism and believed in the importance of agriculture as the foundation of a strong and independent nation. Washington's Mount Vernon estate, located in Virginia, is one of the most visited historic sites in the United States and serves as a museum and educational center. He died in 1799 at the age of 67, leaving behind a legacy as one of the most influential figures in American history. Washington's leadership during the Revolutionary War and his presidency laid the groundwork for the development of American democracy and the growth of the United States into a global superpower. Queen Elizabeth I was born in 1533 to King Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, and ascended to the throne in 1558, becoming the last monarch of the Tudor dynasty. Her reign, known as the Elizabethan era, is often considered one of the greatest periods in English history, characterized by cultural, artistic, and political achievements. Elizabeth never married and was famously known as the Virgin Queen. Her refusal to marry was a strategic decision to maintain her power and independence as monarch. She was a skilled diplomat and navigated the treacherous waters of European politics, balancing alliances and rivalries to secure England's position on the world stage. Elizabeth's reign saw England's defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588, a significant naval victory that solidified England's status as a naval power and boosted national pride. She fostered a golden age of literature and the arts, with playwrights like William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe flourishing under her patronage. Elizabeth's rule was marked by religious tensions, as she sought to establish a compromise between Catholicism and Protestantism in England. She was known for her intelligence, wit, and charisma, as well as her ability to inspire loyalty and devotion among her subjects. Elizabeth's famous speech at Tilbury in 1588, where she rallied her troops before the expected invasion of the Spanish Armada, is one of the most iconic moments of her reign. She was a savvy politician and adept at managing her image, using portraits, propaganda, and public appearances to cultivate her persona as the Virgin Queen and the symbol of England's prosperity and strength. Elizabeth's death in 1603 marked the end of the Tudor dynasty and the beginning of the Stuart era in England. But her legacy as one of England's greatest monarchs endures to this day. Genghis Khan, born Temujin, was the founder and first great Khan of the Mongol Empire, which became the largest contiguous empire in history. He united the nomadic tribes of the Mongolian steppes through diplomacy, marriage alliances, and military conquest, establishing himself as the supreme ruler of the Mongols. Genghis Khan's military campaigns expanded the Mongol Empire across Asia and into Europe, reaching as far west as Eastern Europe and as far south as the Middle East. He was a brilliant military strategist and tactician, known for his innovative tactics, lightning-fast cavalry raids, and psychological warfare. Genghis Khan's empire was characterized by religious tolerance, meritocracy, and a system of laws known as the Yasa, which governed all aspects of Mongol society. He promoted trade and communication across his vast empire, establishing the Silk Road as a major trade route between East and West. Genghis Khan's death in 1227 marked the end of an era in Mongol history, but his legacy as one of the most influential and feared conquerors in world history endured for centuries. He is remembered for his military prowess, political vision, and the enduring impact of his empire on the course of world history. Genghis Khan's legacy continues to fascinate and inspire scholars, historians, and enthusiasts around the world, shaping our understanding of the Mongol Empire and its impact on global civilization. Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, known as Lenin, was born in Simbirsk, Russia, now Ulyanovsk, in 1870. He was a key figure in the Russian Revolution of 1917, which led to the overthrow of the Tsarist autocracy and the establishment of the first Marxist state in the world. Lenin was the leader of the Bolshevik faction of the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party, which later became the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, CPSU. He developed his revolutionary ideology by studying the works of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, adapting Marxist theory to the conditions of Russia. Lenin advocated for the violent overthrow of the bourgeoisie and the establishment of a dictatorship of the proletariat as the necessary steps toward socialism. He played a central role in the October Revolution of 1917, in which the Bolsheviks seized power from the provisional government and established a Soviet government led by the Bolshevik Party. Lenin's government implemented sweeping reforms, including the nationalization of industry, land redistribution, and the establishment of workers' councils, Soviets, as the basis of political power. He negotiated the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk in 1918, ending Russia's involvement in World War I, but ceding large territories to Germany and its allies. Lenin survived an assassination attempt in 1918 by Vanya Kaplan, a member of the Socialist Revolutionary Party, but the attack left him severely wounded and in poor health for the rest of his life. Lenin's leadership during the Russian Civil War, 1917 to 1922, helped the Bolsheviks emerge victorious against a coalition of anti-communist forces known as the White Army. He established the Soviet state as a one-party socialist republic, with the Bolshevik Party exercising centralized control over all aspects of society. Lenin's new economic policy, NEP, implemented in 1921, temporarily reintroduced elements of capitalism to stimulate the Soviet economy after years of war and revolution. He initiated the formation of the Comintern, Third International, in 1919, aiming to spread communist revolution worldwide and unite socialist parties under Bolshevik leadership. Lenin's health deteriorated rapidly in the early 1920s, and he suffered a series of strokes that left him partially paralyzed and unable to speak. He died in 1924 at the age of 53, leaving behind a legacy as the founder and first leader of the Soviet state, and as one of the most influential figures in 20th century history. Lenin's body was embalmed and placed on permanent display in a mausoleum in Moscow's Red Square, where it remains a symbol of the Soviet era and a pilgrimage site for communists and tourists alike. Lenin's role in shaping the course of Russian and world history is profound and complex, and his ideas continue to influence political movements and debates to this day. Benito Amilcare Andrea Mussolini was born in Predappio, Italy in 1883. He was a key figure in the rise of fascism in Italy and became the country's prime minister in 1922, establishing himself as the leader of the National Fascist Party. Mussolini's political career began as a socialist, but he later broke with the socialist movement and embraced nationalism and authoritarianism. He founded the Fasci Italiani di Combattimento, Italian Combat Squad, in 1919, which later evolved into the National Fascist Party. Mussolini capitalized on widespread social unrest and economic instability in post-World War I Italy to seize power through a combination of political maneuvering and intimidation. He was appointed prime minister by King Victor Emmanuel III in October 1922 after leading the March on Rome, a mass demonstration of fascist supporters demanding political power. Mussolini consolidated his control over Italy through a combination of propaganda, censorship, and repression, establishing a fascist dictatorship that suppressed political opposition and centralized power in his hands. His regime promoted ultra-nationalism, militarism, and the glorification of the state, drawing inspiration from ancient Roman imperialism and authoritarian models of governance. Mussolini's government pursued an aggressive foreign policy, seeking to restore Italy's status as a great power and expand its territorial holdings. He embarked on a program of public works and economic development, including the draining of the Pontine marshes and the construction of new roads, bridges, and public buildings. Mussolini's regime implemented corporatist economic policies which sought to reconcile the interests of capital and labor under state control, but ultimately failed to address Italy's economic problems. He formed an alliance with Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler in 1936, known as the Rome-Berlin Axis, which laid the groundwork for Italy's entry into World War II on the side of the Axis powers. Mussolini's military adventures, including the invasion of Ethiopia in 1935 and the participation in World War II, proved disastrous for Italy and weakened his grip on power. He was ousted from power in July 1943 after the Allied invasion of Italy and arrested by the new Italian government. Mussolini was rescued by German forces and installed as the leader of the Italian Social Republic, a puppet state in northern Italy controlled by Nazi Germany. He was captured and executed by Italian partisans in April 1945 as Allied forces closed in on his last stronghold in northern Italy. Mussolini's legacy is controversial, with some viewing him as a ruthless dictator and warmonger responsible for Italy's descent into fascism and defeat in World War II, while others see him as a nationalist hero who sought to restore Italy's greatness. Mussolini's impact on Italian and world history is profound, and his regime's ideology and methods continue to be studied and debated by historians and political scientists. Attila, also known as Attila the Hun or Attila the Scourge of God, was one of the most fearsome and powerful rulers of the ancient world. He was born around 406 AD, and little is known about his early life, but he rose to prominence as the ruler of the Huns, a nomadic warrior people from the Eurasian steppe. Attila succeeded his uncle, King Rugila, as ruler of the Huns in 434 AD, and quickly consolidated his power over the Hunnic tribes. He expanded the territory of the Hunnic Empire through a series of military campaigns, subjugating neighboring tribes and exacting tribute from conquered peoples. Attila's empire stretched from the Danube River in Eastern Europe to the Caspian Sea in Central Asia, making him one of the most powerful rulers of his time. He was known for his ferocity in battle and his skillful use of cavalry tactics, which allowed the Huns to dominate their enemies on the battlefield. Attila launched several devastating invasions of the Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, plundering cities and laying waste to vast swaths of territory. He famously led the Huns on an invasion of the Western Roman Empire in 451 AD, crossing the Rhine River and advancing into Gaul, modern-day France. Attila's invasion of Gaul was halted at the Battle of the Catalonian Plains in 451 AD, where he was defeated by a coalition of Roman and Visigothic forces led by Flavius Aetius. Despite his defeat in Gaul, Attila continued to pose a significant threat to the Roman Empire, launching further invasions of Italy and the Balkans. He negotiated a peace treaty with the Eastern Roman Empire in 452 AD, after Pope Leo I intervened to persuade him to spare the city of Rome from destruction. Attila died suddenly in 453 AD, reportedly on his wedding night, although the exact circumstances of his death remain uncertain. His death marked the end of the Huns' dominance in Europe, as the Hunnic Empire fragmented and collapsed in the years following his demise. Attila's legacy as a ruthless conqueror and scourge of civilization has been immortalized in legend and literature, with his name becoming synonymous with barbarian invasions and destruction. He is remembered as one of the most formidable adversaries of the Roman Empire and as a symbol of the nomadic warrior peoples who played a significant role in shaping the course of world history during the late antiquity period. Attila the Hun's impact on the Roman Empire and the history of Europe is profound, and his legacy continues to fascinate scholars and enthusiasts to this day. Otto Eduard Leopold, Prince of Bismarck, Duke of Lauenburg, commonly known as Otto von Bismarck, was born on April 1, 1815 in Schönhausen, Prussia. He was a German statesman and diplomat who played a central role in the unification of Germany and the rise of the German Empire in the 19th century. Bismarck belonged to the Junker nobility, the landowning aristocracy of Prussia, and was educated at the University of Göttingen and the University of Berlin. He entered politics as a conservative member of the Prussian civil service and quickly rose through the ranks, serving as a diplomat and advisor to King Wilhelm I of Prussia. Bismarck's political philosophy was characterized by his belief in realpolitik, a pragmatic approach to statecraft that prioritized the pursuit of power and national interest over ideological or moral considerations. He served as Prime Minister of Prussia from 1862 to 1890, during which time he implemented a series of reforms to strengthen the Prussian state and modernize its institutions. Bismarck's most significant achievement was the unification of Germany under Prussian leadership, which he accomplished through a series of diplomatic maneuvers and military victories known as the Wars of German Unification. He orchestrated three major conflicts: the Danish War, 1864, the Austro-Prussian War, 1866, and the Franco-Prussian War, 1870 to 1871, all of which resulted in Prussian dominance and the expansion of Prussia's influence in Europe. Bismarck was appointed Chancellor of the newly unified German Empire in 1871 and served in that position until 1890, shaping its domestic and foreign policies with skill and determination. He pursued a policy of internal consolidation, known as the Kulturkampf, aimed at reducing the influence of the Catholic Church and other perceived threats to the authority of the German state. Bismarck also implemented a series of social reforms, including the establishment of a national healthcare system and workers' compensation, to appease the growing demands of the working class and counter the rise of socialism. In foreign affairs, Bismarck pursued a policy of maintaining a balance of power in Europe through a system of alliances and diplomacy, famously declaring that Germany's security lay in the middle. He formed the Triple Alliance with Austria, Hungary, and Italy to counterbalance the growing power of France and maintain stability in Central Europe. Bismarck's diplomatic skill was evident in his handling of the Congress of Berlin in 1878, where he successfully diffused tensions in the Balkans and preserved the peace of Europe. Despite his successes, Bismarck's authoritarian methods and conservative policies made him a polarizing figure in German politics, and he faced opposition from both liberals and conservatives throughout his career. He was dismissed from office by Kaiser Wilhelm II in 1890, marking the end of his political career and the beginning of a period of instability and conflict in Europe. Bismarck spent his remaining years in retirement at his estate in Friedrichsruh, where he continued to write and reflect on his life and achievements. He died on July 30, 1898, at the age of 83, leaving behind a legacy as one of the most influential figures in European history and a founding father of modern Germany. Otto von Bismarck's contributions to German unification and European diplomacy reshaped the political landscape of the continent and left a lasting impact on the course of world history.